You're listening to the Feed Your Wild podcast, a conscious lifestyle show about all things nourishing for your body, mind, and soul. I'm Vanessa Rodriguez, and join me for candid conversations with changemakers, exploring health and wellness, food as medicine, intuition and spirituality, and nature-based practices that will transform your health and feed all parts of your wild self. Welcome back to Feed Your Wild. I'm your host and intuitive nourishment guide, Vanessa Rodriguez, and I'm so happy you are here today to talk all about this new moon in Libra. Ooh, can you feel the shift and change? And wherever you are in the world, I'm in the northern hemisphere. I'm currently in the southern Oregon region, and we are definitely experiencing the shifts in the seasons. I have so many friends who are so into fall time, autumn, winter. I myself, I'm a summer baby. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love me some fall. I love me some sweaters and, throwing some boots on. But I really do miss my summers when we go into these. So it's a bit of a challenging transition in addition to a big move that we are currently making, where we're going to be moving out of Southern Oregon. Oh my gosh, it's all unraveling so quickly. So I will continue to drop more information on my personal life and these major transitions, like sort of end of an era type of transitions. So this is a very big transitional season in general for me and for so many. It also is cosmically aligned. I know that looking into the astrology of things and even tapping into the Akashic records on these times, I mean, it's so tectonic plate shifting, it's so waves coming in and washing away a lot of old, a lot of outdated, and bringing in freshness, newness. And that could feel uncomfortable. That could also feel challenging. There is a lot of grief with letting go of things. When we think about the fall equinox, which we just had on the 22nd, the sun entered Libra. I love Libra. As an astrology sign, it's symbolized by the balanced scales. So there is equal day and night all over the planet on the fall equinox. This beautiful moment of dynamic balance. We, in harmony, you could say. We also are in the northern hemispheres feeling the fall, those winds coming through, the crispness in the air, just sort of like a different quality and feel to the atmosphere. There's fall cleaning, just like when we have these transitional seasons, spring cleaning, we have the fall cleaning and clearing out. And we're doing that in a big way because we're making such a big move. We're literally getting rid of all of our things. And so we're doing this on a lot of different levels. It's not just with physical items and in our home, but there's cleaning and cleansing of, whatever you got going on inside. It could be connected to your body and detoxification. It could be connected to emotional realms or mental realms, clearing out things, old thoughts, patterns, beliefs, and, addictions to certain emotions, even making way, clearing the space for what is true for you today and what is going to be in highest service to you. And for the creativity that also comes during this season as well, even though we're moving into, you could say, slower months. There's a lot of activity. There's the harvest, right? We're moving through a lot of activity and energy. And so really honoring that too. But removing the clutter and clearing and cleansing and cleaning up is one of the key foundations to maintaining this dynamic balance. Like, it's not always going to be an exact balance, right? I don't believe that exists. And I don't know that that's what we would want anyway. But it's about dynamic balancing. So really being with the waves, riding and surfing those waves as they come in the highest way. And clean with mindful intention of transmutation and transformation, the themes over the past few years. Some of the ways that just come to mind that I do this before we dive into more of the astrology of things is washing your environment. So cleaning and washing your floors, dusting, washing the front door is a really big one. When we think about cleaning, it's also energetically cleansing. And whenever you do a deep clean of anything, in your home, even a room, etc., you are clearing the energy and field. And so it could be a very powerful thing to do on a regular basis. But washing the front door is incredibly supportive for clearing the way of what might be blocking coming into your home, coming into your life, and also releasing. So we want to make way for the things that we desire, but that are also, for our highest alignment. And not just a symbolic, but a very real energetic way of doing this is by clearing out your entryway. And so I recommend washing with an organic pine-related, pine-scented cleaning solution. There's natural forms of this that you can purchase, but you can also make them yourself. And then finalize the cleansing with a salt water rinse. Now, of course, depending on the materials of things, right? You don't want to leave things wet and salty, but doing so, kind of ending in that way, can be really helpful energetically. And while cleaning, really feel that and setting out that intention with your will to invite peace, abundance, goodness, love, people and opportunities that are in alignment with all of that to enter through your front door. And when you're in the cleaning process, thanking, appreciating, and saying goodbye to the things that you are clearing out. So it's a wonderful way to do that. I know that we're going to be doing that in a major way, cleaning out our studio and making way for a new life. And so let's take a look at the astrology of things and Libra more in depth, what this might mean for you in this particular lunation. We have the season of Libra, as I had mentioned, and the 25th of September at 2:54 p.m. Pacific time, we have the new moon in Libra. We still have a ton of planets retrograde, which last time I talked about, how this could be a wonderful opportunity for review on so many things and so many levels. And we have Mars in Gemini, and Mars energy, it really energizes wherever it sits in the chart, right? So Gemini is the sign of the mind and communication and words, and connected to Mercury, the planet of all of that, and social interaction and social media. So Mars can really energize the mind at this particular time in that way, and add to be supportive and adding to creativity and a lot of energy with imagination, detailed aesthetics. But it also has the potential for increasing the amounts of information that are coming at us. And so there's just a lot of mental energy that's happening right now. And, that could be an amazing thing. And it can also be overwhelming and run you and take you, on thought trains to places destinations you don't want to go. And so because of this, we really need to pause. Make that time for pausing and taking a breath before allowing that mental energy and those thought trains to lead forward. And, a lot of times it takes our ego along with it and jumping to conclusions or jumping to judgments and jumping to making attachments to things. And so just being really mindful of that tendency in this season and building in the pause. In one of the more recent episodes we spoke with our dear friend Megan Liebman, all on slow medicine. I encourage you to listen to that episode because it doesn't apply to just medicine as it relates to your health, which obviously we talk about that, but it's big M medicine for you, your life, and whatever you got going on. So slow as very deep medicine for so many people, I think is going to be important, especially in these transition times. And there also might be contradictory information flying through. We got some positionings of the planets that kind of like oppositions that are great for imagination. We have Neptune opposing Mercury, for example, and Neptune can really bring that like nebulous, dreamy, intuitive, imaginative realm and quality, but not so great for clarity. And so we can have a lot of this mental energy. We might feel contradictory information. We might feel very imaginative and expansive in that way, but it's not the best time maybe to make a clear decision on something, or at least using your mind to do so. There's many, of course, if you need to make a decision in this season, there are many ways to do so, but just pausing and being with what is before you do. Libra, as I'd mentioned, the themes connected to Libra are really about balancing, harmony, and legal development. So we see the scales of justice with Libra too. With the new moon in Libra, there's the relationship to the body and the organs, self as other. So looking at relationships here and the mirroring, seeing yourself in others. Libra is ruled by Venus, so we could think about how the various planets impact or influence parts of the body, and we can do this with medical astrology. When we look at Venus is very much connected to the kidneys, ureter, urinary bladder, and the veins. So the fluids of the body, the organs that carry our waters, and also skin as an organ of touch, and the pancreas and insulin and glucagon. So all three of those really connected to things like, for example, diabetes and regulation of blood sugar. So the veins is a big one here when we look at stagnation and flow. And so just thinking about those waters of the body and the blood of the body and the movement of the fluids in our body, and also tending to the sweetness levels within our body too. So those are some themes around, Venus and Libra, the organs that are connected to Libra and a Libra moon. Libra is an air sign, and it has reflective energy that really enables us to put things into perspective and balance. The new moon in Libra, it is known as the zodiac's natural peacekeeper. So this is a wonderful time after you take your pause to go into that space of witness consciousness, or looking at things from a higher mind perspective, and maybe not taking sides right away, but really being just, so to speak, in the ways that you are looking at maybe an argument or a challenge or conversation, discussion with somebody, or what's happening in a larger sense in society, or in your family constellation. Libra really encourages compromise. I know that maybe sometimes you don't want to compromise, but compromising can be a beautiful thing for establishing healthy relationships and boundaries, right? And so Libra can encourage this, and also maintaining your convictions and remaining true to your principles. So it's not about giving up everything or going against what is most true for you, but really finding, again, that dynamic balance with your partner, your family, your kids, your greater community, your whoever it is that is in front of you that you're working through something. And again, you don't want to give your power or your energy away unnecessarily. So taking stock of your relationships, the people in your life, and noticing your reactions around certain things, and what does that tell you about yourself? What does that bring to your awareness? This can be a beautiful practice during this new moon in Libra. Another interesting component is that this new moon is conjunct the supergalactic center. So 2 degrees of Libra, the supergalactic center. Now, this information comes from an astrologer and researcher by the name of Philip Sedgwick. And he says that the supergalactic center comprises 30 galaxies that go around this huge black hole, this enormous black hole. And so this supergalactic center, and the fact that we have this new moon in Libra conjunct super close to this galactic center, it is important for our Earth, and that whatever developments are happening here are also significant and connected to the larger cosmos and galaxies. So we can see ourselves more as not just Earth beings, but as galactic citizens, and that we have galactic family and galactic lineages. And I think that this particular new moon and, what might be happening around this time can influence the greater cosmos. And so paying attention to things that are happening in the societal spheres and with government, but also within your own self and personhood. I think because when we look at the principles of alchemy, as above, so below, and as within, so without, just being one of the principles, looking at how what is happening within us is connected to what is happening outside of us, and within the cosmos, and in the spiritual world, and vice versa. So just kind of having that in your mind and heart as we move through this moon. Long-term wise, we've talked about Saturn in Aquarius. I believe we did in past episodes. But this Saturn will move out next March. But Saturn in Aquarius is all about building new systems, and building, for example, new social networks. And it's being helped, it's being assisted by this new moon. So we have disciplined energy and focus into building these long-term, practical future networks. And I think this is going to be really important in terms of our interconnectivity, but in a way that is not controlled by or mandated by like that 1%. But it truly, in an Aquarius fashion, is for the people, by the people. And doing so with the Libra's energy in a really just, practical, and balanced way. So, as I said, we're really shifting to a different quality of energy. And astrologically, October and November are pretty big months. We got eclipse season coming up, but there's lots of other stuff happening. Tune into your favorite astrologers out there. It really is like the weather forecast, but more important, I think. Maybe not more important in a practical sense. Especially if you're a farmer, for example, but really looking at the cosmic weather and how knowing what's to come, or the possibility of what is to come, because it's not all fatalistic, we can work with that. We can prepare ourselves and in that way be more empowered. So we're going to see a lot of change again over these next few months. And I'm not surprised that I'm seeing this reflected and hearing about it in so many of your lives and folks who are reaching out to me. So we have a tarot card pull for this particular new moon in Libra. And we also have a short Akashic reading, Akashic channeling that came through. So I'm going to go over the tarot card first, and then we'll go into the readings. And we got the Four of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so when I tune into this card, well, Four of Pentacles, let's just start there in general. Four of Pentacles is one of the things that I have really connected to, the ways of understanding of this card, is through Lindsay Mack's understanding. I love her work. Her perspective on all the cards are always so resonant. So I highly recommend you check out her work if you haven't already heard of her. But the Four of Pentacles is really about body, boundaries, space, and space around the body. And so traditionally, we might see this card, we might have heard it's about money, it's about greed, holding on to money, or anything like that, just sort of being like a miser with money. And I've never really, maybe in some instances, this card has felt that way, but it really has aligned more with her perspective on it, which is really more around the body and boundaries and the energy and the exchange that we have with our physical embodiment and our soul expression and the world. And this makes sense when we are talking about Libra, right? Because we are seeing ourselves and others. There's this relational aspect with Libra and Venus. And so this card really speaking to, well, the Four of Pentacles upright, really looking at, the body, this vessel of ours, this physical material expression of our soul needs some space. And, in that way, it could be like there's a lot of that clearing that is required. So we need space around that, and we need to clear the space around that for the body to be and to breathe. And so that energy of the Four of Pentacles upright is kind of like that, going in and doing that work, and almost similar to hermit work. And this is going to show up differently for everyone, right? Depending on how you receive it, how it impacts you. Now, when we look at the reversal of the Four of Pentacles, it can mean very often that, we've maybe been in that space. We've taken that space, or we are taking that space right now. We are filling up our cup. And now is a time to transition and move beyond and out. And so it's moving out of that cave and going back into the world, which is interesting because in the northern hemisphere, of course, we are moving into more of that cave-like space with fall time and winter. But again, as I'd mentioned, we still have these like ebbs and flows and this energy, especially with Mars and this mind energy that is very active, the harvest energy, very active. And so it can really connect to that time of make sure that you have gathered yourself, created that space, filled your cup, and then moving from there, moving from that space. And, maybe going through kind of the utilizing this energy and this transitional momentum to engage with the external world and to place focus on the things that you want to be working on and with. So shifting of seasons is really this card, and but making sure that you're doing so in a way and that you don't leave yourself empty. You're doing so with as full of a cup as you are able. So that's what came through for the tarot card. And one of the things I wanted to mention before our Akashic channeling is that my dear friend Ashley Burnett has an incredible program for my heart-driven women in business who are really ready to expand into their next level, their level of impact, their level of income and support, monetary support for themselves and their family through leading transformational and experiential group programs, retreats, workshops, or events. And, this could be obviously virtually or in person. Unleash Your Impact is Ashley's 6-week online training for this purpose. And this connects to this season and the energies that I've been talking about. It's like being ready to move into this expanded and building phase of our networks. And where I'm at is all about collaboration. And the season of the lone wolf and the season of the guru is shifting. It's shifting. There's a lot of myths around it. And I think a lot of the untrue myths are being broken down, and we're coming into an understanding in an age that we really need to support and uplift one another. So when we look at it from the perspective of, like, for example, as practitioner, and myself having been a clinical practitioner in a so-called lone wolf with no pack for so many years doing that work. Yes, I made it work in terms of supporting others and clients and, being able to be like a contractor and work with various other offices and other health practitioners and their patients and clients and supporting my family in doing so. But it's been so much work. And now having a family and a baby, I've come into this deep, deep understanding that like that chapter or section of my book is over. And it's really about collaboration. So having support, having partnerships, having affiliate relationships, just relationship in general is so key. And group work. So my primary offerings now are all around group work because I've done so much work with individuals who are incredible humans and practitioners. And I just see how we can all support each other and uplift one another, and it's a different quality and like a next level version of this work. So that's what I do with my program, the Wildly Intuitive Practitioner Pathway. And coming into that, it's been years of, just working with people and developing to create that program. But one of the key players in helping assist me in understanding how to work with group programs, how to support and create a deeply expansive experience that's supportive for people, individuals who decide to come in and work with me. Ashley was one of my main mentors in that. She's brilliant at this. She's been doing it for years. So if you're a coach, a yoga teacher, a therapist, acupuncturist, astrologist, meditation teacher, or really any heart-centered holistic practitioner, or even artist or singer, creative business owner, I encourage you to check out Unleash Your Impact. I have a teaching in this class. I'm one of the guest experts and mentors, and I'm teaching all on feeding and unleashing your wild voice and what that means and looks like on all of these different levels. So I encourage you to check that out. You can go to wildlyrooted.com/unleash, wildlyrooted.com/unleash. That link is going to take you to the info page where you'll learn all about Unleash Your Impact, this 6-week program that Ashley has got going on right now. And doors are closing this week. So I believe course enrollment closes Thursday, September 29th. So make sure you go check that out before then. All right, so let's shift gears and move into, speaking of feeding and unleashing your wild voice, we're going to go into this Akashic channeling that came in for this new moon in Libra. So here we go with our reading. The elements are beings, representations of cosmic forces and spiritual beings, alive and in relationship to all and to you. Yes, even without your conscious participation, the elements and all the beings connected to them, expressed through them, are in relationship to you. As you assess your relationships to what you perceive as the other, remember to include these unseen beings. They impact your life more than you know and beyond your imagination. They are a part of you, expressing themselves through you and your lived and felt experience. Tune in now, first with air. The season of air right now with Libra, feeling the qualities of air and space in your beingness. The expansion, the movement, the winds, and the stillness, the renewal process with each breath, the freshness that comes with opening your windows and airing things out. How can you work with this element and all the air beings in your life right now? Perhaps it's to work with air, to suspend moments and events, like a hot air balloon floating in the sky, massive, heavy, yet moving light as a feather. Perhaps it's soaring like the eagle and condor, flying high with the winds beneath your wings with grace and higher vision. It can feel more forceful, like the breath of life that's taken by a new babe or a drowning person given a new lease on life through breath. It can feel like the gentle whistle in the flute, creating soft melodies that guide your spirit to higher realms. And of course, your own voice, breath of fire, soft notes, deep prayer, truth. What is ready to move through you and your instrument? Allow this movement to guide you in your relations. Allow the truths spoken through the winds and echoed by the trees to land in your heart as you move forward in your path as an expanded being. And remember, of course, to breathe. So there you have it with our Libra New Moon Akashic channeling. And in it there, of course, we saw those elements and themes of space and air and breath and voice. I'm going to go back and listen and apply it to my personal life and experiences in this big shift and move that we got going on over here. I encourage you to take what resonates, leave the rest, and step into your space with a filled cup and in connection to all the unseen beings and the elements, and allowing that beautiful energy, that air quality to support your movement going forward for the rest of this year into this new season and beyond. So that's what I got for you for this new moon in Libra. Can't wait to connect back in our next episode on Feed Your Wild. Enjoy, and until next time.